here in the Now. Should age matter when it comes to who protects us? Well, this Navy SEAL now fighting back after one fire department told him he's too old to do the job. And this man is proving age is just a number when it comes to spreading your passion. He is 85 and is still teaching tap dance after a life in the spotlight. And we're talking about custody of pets. What happens when you break up with someone and you have a pet together? What are your rights? We break down what you need to know.
Kamasi, thank you. It is Friday. I'm Rafael Sanchez, and this is the Now ND on RTV6. An urgent warning tonight from the Better Business Bureau about emails claiming to offer you a job. The BBB says they've received several complaints today from people who received these emails after they posted their resumes online. Now, they were offered jobs with no interview beforehand. The emails claim to be offering a job with Mazda. The BBB says you should always be leery of these on-the-job spot offers. Most real companies will want to talk to you before hiring you. Now let's take a live look tonight in the area of the South Split. Construction was going to make it really hard for Southsiders to get downtown this weekend, especially with so much happening here in the Circle City. As you can see, it is slowing things down in several places like I-65 and the 465 interchange. Working for you, RTV6's Erin Lish with what you need to know to get around this weekend with so much interstate construction.
As we close out the work week, there are a few closures here on the interstate that may impact you if you hit the road this weekend. The work is done in segments, one being on I-65 northbound from I-465 to the South Split. This is not expected to be back open until Monday morning at 6. From 9 p.m. Friday night, northbound I-65 will also be closed from the South Split to the North Split, and it's planned to open back up Monday morning at 6. Finally, westbound I-70 is closed from the South Split to Belmont Avenue starting Friday at 9 p.m. and potentially wrapping up Monday at 6 a.m. So what's the best way to get downtown? INDOT has a few alternative ways to go. Take I-465 west to I-70 east. The last exit to get downtown on I-70 will be at Illinois Street and Meridian Street, which is exit 79B. Also, take I-465 west to the northwest side to get back on I-65 north. We have the breakdown of the closures and these routes on the RTV6 app and on the IndyChannel.com. Erin Lish, RTV6.
It is exactly 5:31:54 on this Friday evening. As we move into the month of June this weekend, we got a split decision. We'll get into that in a second. The clouds that you have outside your window now will disappear, and any downpours will come to an end. The downpours are limited. I'll show those to you in a second. 78 in Indy, otherwise pretty consistent temperatures. You can see Bloomington, 77. We've all got a west or northwest breeze. I've zoomed in Wayne County down to Liberty and then Brookville Reservoir. Anyone that was out doing some fishing through the afternoon is now looking for cover as the thunderstorms move in. This is the very western edge, and I think what we'll see is these continue to lose strength and they won't gain any more coverage within the state of Indiana. For us tonight, all rain ends and the sky will clear. Temperatures in the upper 70s, and that's fairly widespread across central Indiana. Between now and 11 o'clock, the clouds will clear. The temperature will fall about 10 degrees. We'll be at 69 degrees late tonight.
The flooding situation in Arkansas is getting more dire by the day. Officials say levees are starting to breach as the Arkansas River reaches new highs. That's forcing people to evacuate their homes, wondering what will be left when they get back.
Most of us don't have flood insurance, so I really don't know what to do next. I keep praying.
On top of the homes and businesses that have flooded, thousands of acres of farmland have been inundated with water. And as we move into summer, wildfires are starting to be a concern. The Pacific Northwest didn't get a lot of rain over the winter. Fires have already started in Canada near there. NOAA meteorologists say the Southeast also has a unique fire risk.
Large portions of the Southeast were devastated by Hurricane Michael last October, and that includes parts of the pine forests that you would see in southern Georgia. So as Michael moved through, it knocked down enormous swaths of trees in the pine forests, and those trees are just sitting there rotting and drying out.
Dr. Marsh says if a fire starts there, it has the potential to explode in both size and heat. Wildfires killed more people over the last 2 years than tornadoes. CBD is showing up in all types of products right now, everything from coffee to dog treats. But there's some confusion over what's allowed. Today, the FDA is taking a big step towards clarifying the regulations for CBD, holding the first public hearing on the issue. A pediatric epilepsy specialist was among those speaking about why we need regulation.
There's so much variability within the CBD products, and I think that's one of the biggest concerns that we have.
The director of the Center for Medicinal Cannabis Research at the University of California says we're also behind the curve on research.
We need to take steps to catch up and provide the public with correct scientific information, including positives and negatives.
Now, CBD doesn't get people high, and for now, the FDA has said it's not allowed in food, drinks, and supplements, but some states are allowing it anyway. The FDA isn't making any decisions today on regulating CBD, but this hearing is a first step. All right, back to our lineup. A Navy SEAL is appealing after one fire department told him at age 39 he's too old to become a firefighter.
My wife and children were, above the fire floor in a burning structure. He is the man that I would want to go get them.
This is bringing up a debate about how age plays into this type of job, how other departments are responding.
50 rallies and checkers. Best foodies know the deal.
Welcome back to the Now Indy. Next weekend, the families of Abby Williams and Libby German will attend a major convention in hopes the exposure sheds more light on the Delphi case and maybe helps police in their search for whoever killed the girls. The girls' families and Indiana State Police Sergeant Kim Riley will talk about the murder investigation at the Crime Con in New Orleans. HNL's Susan Hendricks will moderate the discussion on Saturday, June the 8th at 4 p.m. 13-year-old Abby Williams and 14-year-old Libby German were killed along the Monon High Bridge in February of 2017. State Police Superintendent Doug Carter says he still believes the killer lives in or used to live or work in Delphi, and that wasn't the only time this man was on that bridge. This is the new sketch released of the prime suspect in the case, and police are calling it the primary sketch. Now, here's how you can provide a tip involving this case. The email address is right there on your screen. Police say that is the best way to connect with them right now. You can also call the tip line and leave a message. That number is 844-459-5786. New information tonight, Indiana State Police are now releasing the name of the suspect shot by a Crawfordsville police officer last night. State Police tell us the Crawfordsville officer shot 41-year-old Joshua S. Brown in the face. Brown is being treated at a St. Vincent hospital for his injuries. Investigators say Crawfordsville police, they tried to stop Brown for a traffic violation last night, and the driver stopped after a short chase. Now, state police say that Brown was uncooperative with officers and even pulled out a gun. That's when a Crawfordsville officer shot Brown, allegedly in self-defense. The Crawfordsville Police Department has not released the name of the officer yet. No charges have been filed.
With people retiring later these days, 39 is still young in your work career. But is it too old to be a firefighter? One department thinks so. Chris Stewart introduces us to the Navy SEAL now fighting this decision.
This is Special Operations Chief Sean Donovan, a Navy SEAL who served 4 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. He plans to leave the Navy next year and hopes to become a New York City firefighter.
If my wife and children were, above the fire floor in a burning structure, he is the man that I would want to go get them.
His lawyer says he scored in the top 1% on FDNY's exam out of close to 44,000 people who applied. But there's one problem.
New York City Fire Department wrote him back and said, sorry, you're actually just over 6 months too old to become a firefighter.
FDNY rules say at the age of 39, Donovan is too old to join.
And if the idea is that we don't want older men and women joining a fire department because they're not physically able, that obviously doesn't apply to a chief petty officer in the Naval Special Warfare community.
Donovan wasn't available for an interview because he's still on active duty, but his lawyer says they aren't letting a technicality hold him back. They're appealing to New York's Civil Service Commission. But if FDNY says no, there are fire departments across the country who want to help.
When I saw that a veteran might have an opportunity to become a Denver firefighter, it was my goal to reach out as best I could and let them know that they could become a Denver firefighter.
Denver Fire Captain Greg Pixley called Donovan to let him know he could have a home in his department.
What we look at in Denver is having a standard of their physical capabilities. An older individual would have an opportunity, if they had the physical prowess that's necessary, to be able to meet our minimum standards.
A decision on his appeal is expected in July. And while departments without age restrictions want this veteran on their team, this Navy SEAL, born on September 11th, 1981, has his sights set on serving with New York's bravest.
Sean is extremely grateful for this outpouring of support, but he intends to follow through on his goal and his dream, which he's earned, of being a New York City fireman.
I'm Chris Stewart reporting.
Thanks, Chris. Still ahead in the lineup, an 85-year-old who shared the stage with some of the greats is still tapping away. Your Friday motivation is next.
Working for you.
When you get into your 60s or 70s, you may start to slow things down. But today, Chris Welch introduces us to a dancer in his 80s who's still finding a way to keep his passion alive.
The sound of dancing feet has been a part of Gene Gebauer's life for over 7 decades.
Toe tip.
And even though he uses a cane for assistance,
that's sad, but gee, I'm 85.
He still gets just as much joy as he did when he first set foot on the dance floor in his teens.
And I danced so much that it just kept getting better and better and better and better.
So good that he soon made his way to New York, landing parts in 6 of the biggest Broadway shows of the 60s and 70s.
I wanted to shout to everybody. I said, I'm in a Broadway show. And, but I didn't, but that's how happy I was.
He danced alongside Julie Andrews in Camelot and Carol Channing in his favorite gig of all, Hello, Dolly.
And it became, you know, a huge hit. Ran like 5 years. So that was a highlight of my life. But, wow, that doesn't really happen. Okay, I go, you go, I go.
After having left New York to start a family, he settled in Colorado, where he's still teaching tap.
Okay, I go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Shoot.
He says he's slowing down, but his class schedule says otherwise.
I teach, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 5 days a week.
And yes, he will occasionally instruct from his chair.
I'm weak. I get a little foggy sometimes.
But seeing his students' faces when they move is almost just as good.
That is a pleasure to see them. They smile when they're dancing. They're happy. That is rewarding, yeah.
Reporting in Lakewood, Colorado, I'm Chris Welch.
Grace, that is an amazing story. We will soon learn how the White River will be used in the future, both in Marion and Hamilton counties. On Monday, leaders from across central Indiana will unveil the White River Vision Plan. They call it a comprehensive and community-driven proposal to enhance 58 miles of the White River in Marion and Hamilton counties. Now, here's the goal: to transform the White River into an attraction while also focusing on the nature around it and keeping the river clean. Local leaders have checked out other cities and how they develop around the rivers, like Chicago and Cincinnati. Kevin?
24 hours ago, we had numerous thunderstorms. This evening, quite a bit nicer. There's a beautiful view of downtown Indianapolis, and look at all of the green there. Can't get any more lush. The question is, can you get soccer fields, baseball fields to dry out enough to actually get out and play? And then you got to mow those as well. Hope you're having a good day. Let's talk about the changes that are ahead for the weekend. We're clear and cool tonight, relatively cool. I'll point out, that made me think, though, Monday morning, we should be around 49 degrees. If you like to open the windows, that will be your time. Thunderstorms return late tomorrow into tomorrow night. That will lead, though, to a cool, breezy, and dry Sunday. Temperatures will be a dozen degrees cooler on Sunday than they will be tomorrow. Still a couple of showers and thunderstorms confined to Wayne County down to Franklin County around Brookville Reservoir. They're sliding through Liberty as well. and those will begin to fade away. They're not going to expand to the west anymore. It'll pretty much stay along the state line with Ohio. 78, that's our current temperature. The wind west at 6 miles per hour. During the day tomorrow, a dry start. We'll see more clouds in the afternoon and an increasing chance for showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures should make it into the 80s ahead of the thunderstorms and ahead of the cold front that will knock these temperatures about 10 degrees cooler on Sunday. But tomorrow, low to mid 80s, just depending on the timing of the thunderstorms. I think you've got plenty of time in the morning and early afternoon to get mowing done and anything else that you have planned. As you look at Sunday, temperatures noticeably cooler, but it will be dry through the day. That's the big change for the second half of the weekend.
Summer travel season is here, and if you'd like to take an RV trip, there are more options than ever to hit the road without having to shell out the money to actually buy one. Annie Taylor shows us.
Companies like Outdoorsy, My Way, and RV Share allow RV owners to rent directly to other people. Think of it like an Airbnb, but for RVs. You can filter your search by type and price, from the small teardrop trailers you can tow to 42-foot RVs that sleep 6 people. Now, industry experts say most peer-to-peer rental companies offer insurance and roadside assistance, but make sure the owner you're renting from walks you through all the amenities on the RV and also shows you the not-so-fun stuff too, like how to empty the waste tank. And you should also take it for a test drive. You don't need a special license to drive this. Now, Outdoorsy co-founder Jennifer Young says the flexibility of an RV trip is especially beneficial to baby boomers.
Traveling in a recreational vehicle offers you so much more opportunity to get in and out of the vehicle, to stop for a light hike, to pick up a new activity, whether it's kayaking or fishing or getting fishing lessons, trying paddle boarding. So tons of opportunities for you to stay healthy and active.
There's also an opportunity to save money. Now, the Family Motor Coach Association estimates a family of 4 can save up to 62% on their vacation when they travel by RV.
All right, thanks, Annie. Topping the Now News feed, a new study out today finds children who play violent video games are more likely to engage with real guns. Researchers at Ohio State University found 60% of children in the study who played a video game with gun violence touched a toy handgun when invited to play in another room with random toys. Compare that with about 40% of children who played the nonviolent version. E-cigarette maker Juul is considering opening up stores in the U.S. for adults only. According to CNBC, Juul would open its first stores in Texas if it goes through with these plans, but no formal decision has been made yet. And check this out. This is 2,400 tons of trash that was shipped to the Philippines years ago and now is on its way back to Canada. The trash was mislabeled as recyclable plastics and shipped 6 years ago. After protests, Canada said it would take it back.
Due to the fact that you've retained this residence, Ms. Bonafonte is entitled to full canine property ownership, and we'll be enforcing said ownership right now.
It made for a funny movie scene in Legally Blonde, but it's not far from reality. In fact, this week, the Maine Supreme Court ruled in a pet custody case. The woman wanted custody of the dog she shared with her ex-boyfriend. Jessica Sardina and her boyfriend adopted a dog together in 2015. Her name, though, wasn't on the adoption papers. The two recently broke up, and Sardina's former boyfriend took the dog. A judge ruled that because his name was on the adoption papers, the dog is his property. This week, the Maine Supreme Court agreed with the lower court's ruling. Right now, pets are considered property in all 50 states. Only 3 states, Alaska, Illinois, and California, have laws that address pet custody, but only in situations where couples are married. However, the Animal Legal Defense Fund does have some guidance should any unmarried couples ever face this situation. First, courts may consider who purchased the animal. In this case, they're going by the name on the adoption papers. They'll also consider who was the pet's primary caretaker.
You could argue that a judge should look at the same factors that you would look at when you're considering the best interests of a child. So it's sort of, who was a better caregiver, which home would provide the better environment for the companion animal in the future.
Sardina claims she was the primary caregiver, and that's why she should own the dog. Her lawyer says he's now considering pushing for a bill in Maine to establish a standard for dealing with pet custody cases.